Hello, everyone. This is Juliet Gladys Jayasuriya. Welcome to Evaluate to Motivate segment. In this segment, we will be talking to champion evaluators to learn from them the art of evaluation. Today, we have with us Kyle, who is a champion evaluator. So he won the Evaluation District 71 Championship in 2020 and also won the International Speech Contest in 2021. I hope he will be the champion evaluator once again this year as he's aiming for it. Welcome, Kyle.
Thank you, Julia. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to be with you here too. So let me ask a few questions to you. The first one, tell us about your journey as an evaluator. When and how did you discover that evaluation is your strength?
I first realized that it was a strength or something that I needed to work on when I entered the contest for the first time in 2018. I entered the international speech and evaluation because we do them both on the same night. And I put a lot of work into the international speech and zero into the evaluation. And I lost the international speech, but won the evaluation. So I realized, wow, if I can actually win, and I hadn't done any prep beforehand, imagine if I actually worked on this. I could become better at this. I could really deliver evaluations which impact speakers and encourage them and inspire them to improve. So that is really the moment I realized I had a little bit of a strength for evaluation. And then it was just about refining my skills from there and learning through failures, through victories, learning what works and learning what doesn't. That's part of the journey to becoming a champion.
That's very true, Kyle. Failure is a stepping stone of success, and we always learn from our own failures. Having said that, what are the strategies to be adopted to open an evaluation speech?
I like to treat evaluations like speeches. In other words, I like to create a hook at the start of my evaluation instead of just going straight into what the speaker did well. And, I like to start with either a little bit of humor for my hook or saying something more serious and profound. I remember I was evaluating one speaker, and at one point in his speech, he said, because we were on Zoom, I'm not even wearing any trousers right now because you can't see, people's legs now that we're on Zoom. So I opened my evaluation by saying, raise your hand if, like James, you're also not wearing trousers. So it was a little bit of humor, a little bit of fun to get going, grabs the attention, and then you can go into your evaluation. So I think humor is a great tool, but if it's not a humorous speech, say something profound, meaningful at the very opening is how I like to begin.
That's fantastic. That's a very good idea to grab the attention of the audience. So how to give a 360-degree evaluation? Are there any techniques that one can adopt to give a well-rounded evaluation?
Well, look, you definitely need to cover both sides of the equation. In other words, you need to cover the positives that the speaker has achieved, what they've done well, and you also need to cover where they can improve. Yeah. A lot of people tell you to do the sandwich method. I'm not a big fan of the sandwich. I'm quite controversial in that way. What I like to do is I like to give the speaker 3 positives, 3 things that they did exceptionally well, and I'll run through them in a lot of detail, explaining why they worked so well for the audience. And then I like to give 2 suggestions to the speaker. 2 suggestions, one usually based on delivery, so either their body language or their voice, and then the second one on their content, how their speech is structured, or something that they said or could add in to have a greater impact in their speech. And then I like to round it off with a powerful, inspiring conclusion. I think that makes a lot more chronological sense. It's easier for the audience to follow. It's easier for the speaker to follow as well. So that's sort of the blueprint I have for my evaluation.
That's fantastic blueprint. So if you have some 3 + 2, so like 5 different points and you're going to talk about it, I hope that it'll take a lot of time. So how can we effectively manage time to organize the evaluation speech?
Well, that's where practice comes in, right?
Yeah.
That's where you've got to feel your time. You've got to feel your time. If you become really good at evaluations, you should not even need the lights. You should not even need the lights. You should know when it's time to move on to your points for improvement. To give you a rough gauge, I've sort of trained myself so that I will cover the positives, the 3 positives that the speaker has done, in about 1 minute to 1 minute 15 seconds. By 1 minute 15 seconds, I have to move on to my suggestions, because I want to leave a lot of time so I can fully explain, why this didn't work for the speaker, what the problem was, and how they can do it better through a demonstration. So I leave a lot of time for my recommendations. And in a contest, ultimately, the recommendations are where you win, where you have the impact. So I leave a lot of time there, and I look to get into my conclusion about 2 minutes 45 seconds in. I'm moving on to my conclusion, yeah. And then I'm able to round things up probably before 3 minutes 10 seconds. So this is what I'm talking about. You've got to feel it. And the only way to feel it is actually to practice, to set a timer on your phone, practice doing an evaluation until you're in sync with those sort of time frames.
That's wonderful. That's a good suggestion as such. So having said about the recommendations importance, so is it important to conclude? And what methods do you prescribe for the conclusion?
Yeah, the concluding is really important, especially if you're competing as well. It's about 15 points on the form, but it's good to just round things up and summarize, even if you're not competing. And the key here is do not include any new information. Do not include anything new. So your summary should literally be recounting the 3 positives and the 2 suggestions for the speaker. Recount them in a brief amount of detail. And then, of course, for the last line, you don't want to just say contest chair or hand it back to the speaker or say that's me done. No, you want to say something a bit more exciting, a bit more profound. You could end with a little bit of humor again. You could end by saying that the message has deeply impacted you and you're sure it will inspire others. But you want to end with a line which is poignant for the audience, because what is said last lasts with the audience. So you want to make those final words count in your evaluation.
That's good. So how should a Toastmaster prepare for an evaluation contest?
Well, for the evaluation contest, in terms of prep, I think you should be practicing evaluations before contest day. Like I say, starting to feel the timing, starting to feel your own process, your own techniques for note-taking as well. On contest day itself, it's about being clear. Mm-hmm. Your mind has got to be absolutely clear. You can't go in with any expectations of what you will speak on. If you go in thinking, I'm going to comment on eye contact, that could bring your mind away from something else which is important in your speech. So you have to be absolutely clear and open to whatever the speaker is going to give you. And then from there, I suggest, getting a piece of paper and dividing it up. Have your 3 points on one side, have your 2 points on the other side. And then you've got an easy reference point to look at during your 5 minutes, when you're practicing, when you're trying to internalize your comments for the speaker. Because the goal ultimately is to deliver your evaluation with no notes.
That's right.
That looks so much more professional and so much more impactful. So note-taking is really important when it comes to evaluating, and only you will find your own process to doing that effectively.
Yeah, that's true. So as a champion evaluator, what is your advice to the new Toastmasters to prepare themselves for the evaluation contest?
Yeah, I think, of course, you've got to enter, but what you've really got to do is make sure that your suggestions are strong, really strong. And the way you make a strong suggestion is by demonstrating. So let's say, Juliet, you're doing a speech and I'm your evaluator. And for whatever reason, I don't feel that your opening is as impactful as it could be, okay? Me just saying, Juliet, your opening wasn't very impactful, you should change that, is not good enough. I need to give you a clear idea of what you can do to make that better. So I have to say, Juliet, you could say this in your opening, right? Actually give an example of what you could say, so then you've got a clear idea. So you've got to demonstrate, you've got to show
them the example, right?
Show rather than tell, right? Show rather than tell. Give them that example so it's crystal clear what the speaker should do going forward, and clear for the judges what you're recommending to the speaker as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's always good to tell and show,
Yes.
So you tell what is it, and then you also show how to do it much better. It will
Yeah.
give a clear idea. I think that's a fantastic idea as well, Kyle. And thank you so much for your valuable time and the knowledge you have shared with us today. And hope this will really help all the budding evaluators in the Toastmasters journey. So thank you, Kyle, once again.
My pleasure. Great to be here, and I hope that helped today.
Yeah, sure, it would help. And thank you, everyone. And this is Juliet signing off.